I've lived in Hawaii for 15 years, and these are my honest thoughts. Hawaii is probably the most romanticized place in the entire country. Everybody knows the beautiful beaches, the waves, the sun, including myself at 18 when I bought a one-way ticket to Oahu with almost no money and no plan. 15 years later, I can honestly tell you that I've had major surprises and complete mindset transformations. Aloha, I'm Tina Marie Gamble, your Oahu real estate advisor. I've called Oahu home since 2011, and in this video, I'm giving you my completely honest thoughts on what life here actually looks like. Perks, the challenges, and the full picture so you can decide if this is really for you. How I got to the island. So how did I actually end up here? Basically, my friend Carissa asked me if I wanted to move to Hawaii and be her roommate. That's pretty much the whole story. I was 18, working 2 jobs in Texas, paying for college out of pocket, and she told me I seemed financially responsible enough to make the move with her. Hawaii had been on her vision board since I met her, and most of her other friends backed out over time. Life happened, people got comfortable, and they just stayed put. But I said yes without blinking. We bought one-way tickets in August of 2011. When I was 19, we flew out with one clear agreement. At least 1 year, no getting homesick and no bailing on each other. That was our commitment. Let's be honest though, I knew on that plane ride over that I wasn't leaving after a year. I just felt it, but I'll tell you what I didn't see coming in just a moment. Now, before we go any further, I want to be real with you. This isn't a hype video. I'm definitely not here to sell you on Hawaii. I'm here to give you the version of this conversation that doesn't make it into the Instagram post. Because if you're actually going to live here, you need to know what's waiting for you, the good parts and the hard parts. And later in the video, you'll get more info to choose for yourself. Also, I want to add one more thing right up front. Ever since I started, I've helped over 450 military families and service members buy and sell here on Oahu. And I've had thousands of relocation conversations on top of that. So when I say I know what trips people up here, I mean it. All right, let's get into it. Expect what was unexpected. Now, here's where most people's mental picture of Hawaii starts to crack a little. I came off that plane fully expecting something close to the movies, small island laid back, beachy, maybe some open air markets. Everybody is moving slowly and smiling at the same time. But what I actually saw when we got on the H1 leaving the airport was high rises, buildings, a full-blown city. I grew up in Northeast Dallas, which isn't exactly rural, and I was still caught off guard by how developed Honolulu actually is. Real city energy. So business suits, rush hour, high-rise apartments, chain restaurants, like hello. We even just got a Chick-fil-A in the last couple of years and people were genuinely excited about it. We still don't have a Sonic though, which is crazy to me because slushies in this weather would be a dream. That's Oahu. It's a full metro area sitting on an island in the middle of the Pacific. That part really surprised me, but it didn't shake me though. What shook me was getting around. I'd found a small part-time job in Waikiki and we had landed a place near Pearl City. So I walked into a bike shop fully convinced I was going to e-bike from Pearl City to Waikiki every day. The guy behind the counter looked at me like I had suggested swimming there. He had to actually explain how far that distance was. I looked it up on my phone and it just didn't look that far. Y'all, it was very far. So I ended up skateboarding to the bus stop and catching 2 buses to get to work. Pretty unique, but that was my commute for a while. And here's what I didn't expect about this. The bus system here is genuinely incredible. The bus covers the entire island with more than 110 routes. And for someone starting out without a car, it's way more workable than people think. That's even more true now with the Skyline, Oahu's newer rail system, already running its first 2 operational segments from East Kapolei all the way to the airport. And it's still expanding toward downtown. But here's what I really need you to pay attention to, because this affects every single decision you'll make about where to live on this island. The H1 freeway consistently ranks among the most congested roads in the United States. During rush hour, what your GPS shows as a 20-minute drive can turn into a 60 to 90-minute drive. That's not a bad day. That's really just a Tuesday. And honestly, if I could change one thing about living here after 15 years, it would be the traffic, hands down. I'll go back to this when we talk trade-offs later on. But what about the actual life you're getting? Let me tell you about what I saw, the weather. Okay, so think about what pushes most people to want to leave where they're living. Gray winters, seasonal depression, being cooped up inside for weeks at a time. Basically a routine that just keeps looping with no way out. Hawaii actually peels most of that away. Honolulu averages around 271 31 sunny days a year, and the ocean around Oahu stays somewhere between the mid 70s and low 80s, depending on the season. It's incredible. The weather is actually inviting to get into almost every single day. There's virtually no seasonal depression here. No months where the sky goes flat and could keep you locked inside. You wake up and the outside genuinely wants you in it. That does something to your quality of life that compounds over time in ways that honestly are hard to put into words. Rough patches and advice. Now, the first year was still tough. I won't pretend otherwise. I blew through most of my savings faster than I expected. Out-of-state tuition, cost of living, groceries, it all adds up at a pace that catches you off guard when you're 19 and on your own with nobody to call if things go sideways. I had to get smart with my money fast, build a routine before I could even start to enjoy the island the way I'd imagined. And I think that's actually really important to hear because it applies to military families too. Those first couple of months after you arrive, give yourself permission to get settled. Get your housing sorted, get your kids into a routine, get your bearings. You don't really have to rush to enjoy Hawaii in the first 30 days. It's going to be here and it's going to be summer here all year round. You've got plenty of weekends ahead of you. Go scuba diving, surfing, and hiking, and we'll be covering that later too. So my advice is getting grounded first, then start putting the life you want on your calendar. And before I go on, if you're watching this and already doing the math on your VA, your timeline, and which side of the island makes the most sense for you, that's exactly the conversation we can have. Drop me a message through the contact links in the description below, and I'll help you connect the dots. Don't go through this process alone. What made me stay? All right, so what made me stay? Really? It wasn't just the amazing weather or the water. It was who I got to become here. Back in Texas, I was always the person trying to convince someone to come explore with me. Creek hiking, anything outdoors. Most of the time, I couldn't find interested people. Here, you don't have to convince anyone. There's plenty of meetup groups, and the culture around you is already outside. People are hiking before work, paddleboarding on Saturday mornings, taking their kids to the beach on a Wednesday just because they can. Your environment is built around that kind of active outdoor lifestyle, naturally grow into it. There's actually a concept in the book Atomic Habits by James Clear that I think about a lot when it comes to this island. When you change your environment, you change your behavior. Hawaii makes healthy, active living the default. Not because you magically have more willpower here, but it's pretty much because everyone around you is already living that way and the landscape makes it easy. So the version of me that had always been inside, my adventurous, outdoor-driven, physically active side, finally had the right environment to actually show up. I also did a lot of island hopping in those early years. I would get together with about 4 friends, pack into a 5-seater rental car with camping gear. We'd grab PJs from the grocery store, fly to another island, and just camp and just wing it for a few days. And we did it on almost no money. Doing that, I got to see the real side of every island, not the resort version. Every single time I explored a new island, I thought the same thing. I should just move here instead. Every island pulled me in. Kauai, Maui, the Big Island, even Molokai and Lanai. There's something beautiful about every single one of them. Actually, scratch that. There are many beautiful things about every island. But Oahu was where my life was actually being built. My career was here. My husband, who I met because he was stationed in the US Army out here, was here. My community was here. And there's something about the life you build when you actually commit to a place that creates its own kind of gravity. Roots grow whether you're paying attention or not. One more thing I want to say about living here, which I really don't think gets talked about enough. You get to be a place of rest for the people you love. That is a true game changer. Your family and friends back on the mainland, the ones who dreamed their whole lives of coming to Hawaii but could never quite make it work financially, well, when you live here, they get to come to you, and it's so much more affordable for them. They will be completely happy sleeping on an air mattress in an 800 square foot condo just to be in Hawaii for a week. You get to give someone an experience that would cost them thousands of dollars in hotels. But of course, there's a flip side to this, and I'll get to it after we see the real estate reality. Anyways though, getting to be that for the people you care about is one of the most quietly filling parts of calling this place home. That one genuinely surprised me, and it still does, but it's also part of why I love it here. Real estate realities. Okay, so the real estate piece. I'll keep this short because I've got a full dedicated video that goes deep on this, but there are 3 things that catch people off guard here all the time, and you need to know them going in. First, square footage. You're not going to get the same size home you'd get on the mainland for the same budget. That's just the reality of an island with limited land and real demand. But the mainland doesn't have the same equity gains that somewhere with limited land and real demand have, like Oahu. It truly depends on where you're looking on Oahu. Every area has its own price point and lifestyle. Yeah, Yes, the average 3-bedroom single-family homes on Oahu range from $800,000 to $1.1 million. And although the sticker price can feel intimidating at first glance, when you actually break that same price down over a 30-year fixed mortgage, it often feels far more possible and far more strategic than it first appeared. Oahu's median single-family home price is now in the $1.1 million range, with most established neighborhoods trading well above the $1 million mark. And even more accessible communities on West Oahu typically land in the high 800s to low 900s range. And remember, your lifestyle here is genuinely different. You're not in your home all day. You're heading to the beach, hiking, and more. So square footage matters a lot less when the outdoors is basically an extension of your living space every single day. Second, association dues. This one surprises more people than almost anything. A lot of homes on Oahu that look exactly like regular single-family houses are actually classified as CPR homes, which stands for Condo Property Regime. These carry monthly association dues that can run anywhere from a few $100s to well over $1,000, especially in older buildings or certain neighborhoods. That's not the $50 HOA fee you're used to seeing on the mainland. These dues typically do cover water, sewer, and a big portion of your homeowner's insurance, so there's real value built into it. And you have to know what you're looking at before you fall in love with a listing, because those monthly numbers will absolutely affect your budget. Third, the space versus commute trade-off. If you want more square footage and a bigger yard, you're going to be further from the city and further from base. Communities out on the west side of Oahu tend to have more space and lower price points, but you're also building a 30 to 45-minute commute into your day on a normal traffic day and a lot longer during rush hour. More central areas like Mililani, which sits close to several major bases, can get you down to 10 to 15 minutes of a drive, but the prices reflect that. Overall, there's no wrong answer here, just a trade-off you need to understand clearly before you decide. Speaking of which, let me share my insights on who would thrive here and who should maybe consider somewhere else. Who should and shouldn't live here. Now, here's the part I really want you to sit with before you make any decisions. The people I've seen thrive on Oahu over the long term are the ones who show up with an open mindset and genuine respect for the community they're stepping into. So the people who come ready to appreciate the culture of aloha and what the island gives them, so not measuring everything against what they had back on the mainland. The mindset shift is the biggest factor I've seen in who builds a good life here and who ends up counting down the days. If being outdoors is genuinely part of who you are, if hiking, surfing, paddleboarding, swimming, and that kind of lifestyle actually excites you, Oahu will feed into that every single day. The island is the third largest in Hawaii and has over 110 miles of coastline. So everything from protected snorkeling bays to legendary surf breaks on the North Shore, from wide sandy beaches to dramatic sea cliffs, you'll get mountain trails that will push serious hikers and short walks that are still stunning. And because there's no winter, no off season, and no months where all of that gets locked away from you, it just becomes a part of your normal life. That effect on how you feel day to day is hard to fully understand until you've lived it for a year or two, but trust me, it's real. Also, because the island keeps you moving, active, and connected to the physical world around you, your mental state reflects that in a real way. So no vitamin D crash in February, no dragging yourself through a cold gray stretch of weeks just waiting for spring. You get sunlight and outdoor time all year round, and that matters more than people actually give it credit for. Now, for the people who struggle, there are a few patterns I see consistently, and I will share them with you. The first is family closeness. If you have a truly tight-knit family on the mainland, people who get together every week, who show up for every birthday and every hard moment, that distance becomes something you feel in your body. Oahu is around 2,300 to 2,700 miles from the California coast, and flights aren't quick or cheap. Some people carry that distance just fine. Others feel it every single day and eventually decide the trade-off isn't worth it. That's a completely valid decision. Be honest with yourself about how much those rhythms of family life actually mean to you before you commit to being this far away. The second is the outdoor lifestyle piece. This one sounds obvious, but it genuinely surprises folks. If you're happiest indoors, if you want more nightlife options or a denser city vibe, or you're really just not drawn to being outside regularly, Hawaii is going to start to feel narrow and narrow over time. The magic of this island is tied almost entirely to its natural environment and outdoor culture. If that doesn't move you, the cost of living here is going to feel harder and harder to justify. And then there's island fever. That feeling of being closed in or wanting to just drive somewhere different, anywhere that isn't this. Some people hit that feeling and push through it. Others hit it and realize Oahu was never going to be a long-term fit. No shame in it either. The island rewards people who can embrace the boundary of it. The boundary is part of what makes this place feel so distant, so removed from everything. Some people love that, some people can't deal with it, and both are valid. At the end of the day, the people who build the best lives here are the ones who show up with open hands, ready to respect what they're stepping into, to embrace the pace of life here instead of fighting it, and ready to actually invest in the community that they're now part of, not just pass through it. 15 years ago, I had no backup plan and no real idea what I was walking into. I had a one-way ticket and a gut feeling on a plane that I was gonna fall in love with this island. And I was right, but I also wasn't ready for everything that came in that first year. There are things I really wish someone had told me before I landed. What I know now is this: Oahu rewards the people who show up with honest expectations and respect. It's one of the most beautiful, culturally rich, and incredible places in the world to build a life. And if you're interested, or if you're PCSing to Oahu, you'll want someone who actually knows this island to walk you through your options. So reach out to me today at team@epichawaiihomes.com, because I'm here to help you figure out what the right move looks like for you and your family from start to finish. And before you go, check out the video I've linked right here on the real pros and cons of PCSing to Hawaii. That's the complete picture built specifically for military families heading this way, and it picks up right where this one leaves off. Don't skip it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Aloha! See you soon.